Law enforcement in the United Kingdom is organised separately in each of the legal systems of the United Kingdom, England and Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland. NB1, most law enforcement is carried out by police officers serving in regional police services, known as territorial police forces, within one of those jurisdictions. These regional services are complemented by UK-wide agencies, such as the National Crime Agency and the National Specialist Units of certain territorial police forces, such as the Specialist Operations Directorate of the Metropolitan Police. Police officers are granted certain powers to enable them to execute their duties. Their primary duties are the protection of life and property, preservation of the peace, and prevention and detection of criminal offences. 1. In the British model of policing, officers exercise their powers to police with the implicit consent of the public. Policing by consent is the phrase used to describe this. It expresses that the legitimacy of policing in the eyes of the public is based upon a general consensus of support that follows from transparency about their powers, their integrity in exercising those powers and their accountability for doing so. 2. In the 18th century, law enforcement and policing were organised by local communities based on watchmen and constables. The government was not directly involved in policing. The City of Glasgow Police, the first professional police, was established following an Act of Parliament in 1800. 4. The first centrally organised police force in the world was created in Ireland, then a part of the United Kingdom, following the Peace Preservation Act in 1814 for which Sir Robert Peel was largely responsible. 5. London had a population of nearly 1.5 million people in the early 19th century but was policed by only 450 constables and 4,500 night watchmen. 6. The concept of professional policing was taken up by Sir Robert Peel when he became Home Secretary in 1822. Peel's Metropolitan Police Act 1829 established a full-time, professional and centrally organised police force for the Greater London area known as the Metropolitan Police. 7. Legislation in the 1830s introduced policing in boroughs and many counties and, in the 1850s, policing was established nationally. The Peelian principles describe the philosophy that Sir Robert Peel developed to define an ethical police force. The principles traditionally ascribed to Peel state that Smiley 8, 9. Whether the police are effective is not measured on the number of arrests, but on the lack of crime. Above all else, an effective authority figure knows trust and accountability are paramount. Hence, Peel's most often quoted principle that the police are the public and the public are the police. 9 principles of policing were set out in the general instructions issued to every new police officer in the Metropolitan Police from 1829. However, the Home Office has suggested this list was more likely authored by Charles Rowan and Richard Mayne, the first and joint commissioners of the Metropolitan Police. 10. 11. The police historian Charles Reith explained in his new study of police history, 1956, that these principles constituted a philosophy of policing unique in history and throughout the world because it derived not from fear but almost exclusively from public cooperation with the police, induced by them designedly by behavior which secures and maintains for them the approval, respect and affection of the public. 10. 12. This approach to policing became known as policing by consent. 11. The first women police officers were employed during the First World War. Hull and Southampton were two of the first to employ women police, although Grantham was the first town to have a warranted policewoman. 13. Since the 1940s, police forces in the United Kingdom have been merged and modernised. Corruption at the Metropolitan Police's flying squad led to a conviction and resignations in 1977 after the Operation Countryman investigations. A police complaints board was set up to handle allegations of malpractice in response. Changes took place to tighten police procedures in the 1980s, in response to the Scarman report, to ensure that evidence and interviews were robust, in the introduction of the Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984. In 1989, the West Midlands Serious Crimes Squad was disbanded as a series of around 100 criminal cases failed or were subsequently overturned in the West Midlands, after new forensic techniques showed police officers had been tampering with statement evidence to secure convictions, including those of the Birmingham Six, The Police Complaints Board was replaced by the Police Complaints Authority in 1985, which itself was superseded by the Independent Police Complaints Commission in 2004. On 8 January 2018, the IPCC was replaced by the Independent Office for Police Conduct. 14.